Welcome back, everyone, to episode number 6 of the Tricks and Traps Speedrun. So I was looking through some comments over last episode, and I realized that maybe some of you are just starting to discover this series. So if you're new to the series, the way this has worked is I started at a 400 elo. I'm now up to just over 800 on chess.com. And I'm trying to play a lot of tricky and trappy chess. It's a different style of kind of the traditional chess where I'll go for more gambits, I'll be less materialistic, and I'll try and be more aggressive and have some more fun, exciting games. So still trying to be instructive along the way, but hopefully entertain as well. So yeah, let's keep it going today, and hopefully I can raise the rating even more. Let's hop into the first game. All right, first opponent playing MaxBot, sticking with pawn e4. We have a modern. Ooh, what do I want to play against a modern? I'm going to play bishop to c4. There is... Whoa, h5. I was going to say there's something called the monkey's bum, but it's only against a more common move order from black. Do I just go for like the immediate checkmate? Let's play queen f3. Knight h6 does defend f7. And now I'll play d4. So I'm threatening to take the knight, removing the guard of f7. Okay, black defends, maybe wanting to play this move. But d5 is off limits. I'll play knight h3. Slightly strange opening to start this episode. I think I'll just keep developing. And maybe I should have considered e5 to attack the rook first. I mean, it's a good looking position. Bishop g5, bishop e7. Not seeing a great follow-up there. So I'm just going to play bishop f4. Probably look to castle queenside. Have a nice setup, controlling the center. Okay, bishop g7 is played. So now this might be more justified. Attack the queen. Guess there is f6. I'm just going to castle. And as we go into the middle game, white should have a lot of attacking potential. I could take the pawn if I want. Bishop takes c7. That actually looks good. Like, even though there's going to be a lot of times in this series where I'm not materialistic, I take the pawn because it could lead to more potential tactics. Black plays queen to b4, so attack my bishop. All right, let's be tricky. I'm going to play knight to b5. I can say, oh no, my bishop. Someone call an ambulance. But if black takes it, the ambulance is not for me, because, yeah, knight d6 is in the air. It's not so easy for black to deal with. Maybe castling would be the best move. And this is one of the main reasons I was inclined to take on c7 is it's very weakening to this square, which is now in white's control. Yeah, if castling, I have to figure out what to do. Because bishop d6 would then allow queen takes c4. So black covers d6 with the bishop. Okay, now let's go in with the queen. Not only threatening the rook, but threatening mate in 1. Still leaving my bishop hanging. And black is not defending everything here. There's a nice line, if knight c6, defending mate, I take the rook. And if black takes the bishop, again I would have knight d6. In this case, it's just mate. Okay, so nice quick game. That was 12 moves. just to show what I was calculating, knight c6, take, and then knight d6 is a pork because it combines the pin and the fork. And yeah, then I would win the queen. So, yeah, going back, I think that was pretty clean. I mean, maybe I should have played e5 sooner. There is actually a nice potential tactic that if I play e5, then if black plays d5, I can en passant with the discovery, and I would hit the rook. Black would have no time to take back the pawn. So I think there's one more thing I just want to share about this opening, because the reason why I played bishop c4 here was there's a line after bishop g7. I'll have to remember it. I think it's queen f3, e6, and then d4. And the whole point is to gambit the pawn, but get a lead in development. I'll have to check this later. I might be misremembering, but I remember some Gotham chess video about the monkey's bum. And it was some setup like this, where white gets some quick development, h4, h5. It is maybe objectively dubious, but it can be a fun opening to look into. So anyway, yeah, good start to this episode. I'm up to 818. Let's keep it going. All right, playing a bike best. And I'll play King's Pawn. And I have been reading some recent YouTube comments, and there have been multiple requests for a gambit after bishop c4, the so-called Rousseau Gambit, which is f5. But it's only playable, or it's only the Rousseau Gambit if white plays bishop c4 in this position. So we'll see if white allows me to play it. There's other moves here. There's a Ponziani, there's a Scotch, there's potentially the 3 or 4 knights. But we do see bishop c4. So this is the beginning of the Rousseau. And I'll admit, I have not studied much theory here. But as far as I know, the whole point of this opening is to essentially deflect white's pawn away from the center so I can expand and gain time while attacking white's minor pieces. And d5 comes next. And I think this position can very easily happen at this rating level in the Rousseau Gambit. Now, I did allow queen h5 there, actually, so maybe I was supposed to play knight f6 first. Have to analyze that after the game if maybe white could have punished me there. But this is now a dream position. It has some reverse King's Gambit vibes. F-file is half open for me. And I'm going to keep developing. No need to overthink things. Recapture on c6. And very likely play bishop c5 and castle. White wants to do some damage with the queen. It is probably worth defending this pawn. And queen d7 looks very solid. And the goal is bishop c5 and castle, and also not to blunder a rook. I'll play rook d8. Or do I want to play rook d8? I guess white is winning this pawn, but I really don't mind sacrificing. I don't have bishop c5, but bishop d6 is a fine backup option. Castling should come next. And the main goal going into the middle game is to try and create threats against white's king. And knight g4 comes to mind, bishop g4 comes to mind. Even sacrificing, like Greek gift. Usually the Greek gift is most common when the queen is on this diagonal. But I am wondering, bishop takes h2, king takes h2, knight g4, king g1, queen d6. And then if white defends, I can move this way. And it looks like the queen is getting in. So I'm going to go for it. Not holding back. I think in a more serious game, I would calculate more, but this might actually be the best approach for black. Now queen h6 threatening mate. Is it already force mate? Because if the rook moves, it's still mate in 2. I would check and then win f2. Oh wait, I don't win f2. The queen is defending. Yeah, it's good to realize before it's too late and I take and trade queens. Wait, so rook e1. Oh, it's still force mate. Okay, queen h2. I wonder how many players would blunder queen takes f2, missing the long distance defense. White has one legal move. So after king f1, it's mate in 2. I encourage anyone watching to try and calculate the force mate in 2. My opponent actually abandons the game, which I think is a big mistake. If maybe in a different universe, if I was not super focused and I actually took the pawn, then white is winning. So white should have at least tried king f1. Just to show, the mate in 2 is knight to e3. Sacking the knight, but then preparing this move, and whatever takes back, this is checkmate. In this case, it's double checkmate. Should note that queen h1 isn't mate immediately because knight g1. Still probably winning for black, but yeah, it's a nice attack. Let's check with engine to see if this was the best approach. Bishop takes h2 is one of the best moves. There's a lot of winning moves for black. Engine slightly prefers rook a8 first, but bishop h2 is actually the second choice of the engine. And yeah, the attack is pretty brutal. If knight g3, I would still go for queen h6. And yeah, there's rook e1. This is not mating immediately because h1 is covered. But I would have a pretty nice attack on the f file. Also threatening queen takes g3 because of the pin. So, okay, that was a fun game. And hopefully a nice example game of when things go very right for black in the Rousseau Gambit. I should quickly analyze this though. d5 is good according to the engine. That's actually the best move according to the engine. But I should have had a game plan. If queen h5, then black needs to bong cloud. This is the only way to maintain the edge for black, because g6 there's takes, and then there's some issues with the pin and the discoveries. But after king e7, the king's actually safe here. The bishop's still attacked. Knight f6 is coming. I mean, white has one check, but then knight f6, and black is in good control, winning f5, probably next move. So, okay, that was fun. That was the first time playing the Rousseau Gambit in a long time for me, so maybe I'll have to try this gambit more in this series. Let's keep it going. Up to h29. Play e4. This time we have a Caro Kann. Let's play knight f3. And what do I want to do? I'm going to go for d3. This is a gambit I tried, I think it was in the first or second episode of this series. It looks very passive at first. I am blocking in my bishop. But the main idea is if black takes, I would play knight g5. But black plays f5. Okay, this is very new territory now. I usually like to see such a move because it weakens the black king. And how aggressive do I want to be here? Okay, I'm going to be ultra aggressive and play knight e5. Immediately setting up queen h5 ideas. This is also a potential outpost where the black pawns cannot move backwards to attack the knight. So it's a bit harder for black to actually remove the knight in the center. And now queen h5. g6 is the only legal move. If I want to be super insane, I could play bishop e2 and say, oh no, my queen. But I mean, this is just a nice tactic. Taking the pawn. Knight f6 is a good response, though. And now, I guess I have to be careful. Queen h4. There is rook g8. It's getting messy. Still pinning the pawn and attacking the rook. And black is likely to play this move. And then I can either retreat to e5 or take on f8. They're the two most attractive options. Actually, both options look quite interesting. I mean, this probably keeps more initiative. It also removes the dark square bishop, so it makes my dark square bishop stronger. Yeah, let's go for this. Now I can bring in this bishop with check. It's not over, though. It's actually equal material here. Black has some pressure, maybe rook g4 ideas I have to watch out for. So I'm thinking bishop e2, which does leave g2 hanging, but it sets up ideas of bishop h5. It also prevents rook g4. I'm not too concerned about losing a pawn. I mean, what I want to do as quickly as possible is probably knight c3 and castle, and then either open up the center, maybe try to keep targeting the king as well. So rook takes g2 is played. Calculating bishop h5, take, rook g6, rook g1, queen d6. Yeah, not sure if I actually want to trade so quickly here. I'm going to play knight c3. And one important thing to note is when black takes on g2, the g file is now fully open, meaning there's no pawns on it. So in this case, the file is in black's control, but if I can connect the rooks and maybe fight for the file, that could be nice. But now, okay, if I take the pawn, there's rook g4 still. And again, bishop h5, I'm calculating. Yeah, actually, if I take with bishop, rook g4 traps my queen. This queen h3 looks safe, but then rook e4 is a discovery, and it's check. So I'm going to take with the pawn. I know this is not the prettiest structure. I currently have 4 pawn islands. But pawn structure is not always as relevant as piece activity and initiative, especially in the middle game. Okay, I think it's time to castle. Get the king safe. And the e-file is half open, so I probably either want to put a rook on e1 or put the rook on g1 and fight for the file. I also want to point out that after knight a6, sometimes the idea is knight b4, but my queen did control b4. We see knight to g4. And now, yeah, this looks really, really good. With the knight no longer on f6, I can happily play queen h5. And black's only legal move is king d7. The rook was obstructed, can now take the knight. Winning material. And now it's time to hunt the king. Bring the bishop to f4. And now there's knight a4. Knight a4. I'm trying to calculate the mate here. There's king b5. Okay, knight a4, king a5, bishop d2. Takes. Yeah, I'm not seeing the instant knockout. Although there is... Oh, there's a very tricky move. I think I'm going to play it. It might actually be the best move too. Bishop e3, which I think originally I subconsciously rejected this move because d4 blocks a check and forks the pieces. But d4 also opens up the rank for my queen controlling these squares. And then, yeah, if d4 I would have knight a4 and then eventually bishop f4. But black's not walking into that. And I don't want to repeat and just draw, of course. So I guess I could repeat once. I could take on c8. We'll play bishop f3. Not trading, just keeping initiative, attacking the rook. Maybe there's ideas of sacrificing at some point. Okay, black is not really caring about the rook, so let's take. And now I'm up a rook and a bishop for a pawn. Okay, c5, black maybe wants to fork. Let's play this move. Inviting queen d6 so I can play knight b5 with a fork. Yeah, no mercy here. Winning more material. Cleaning up. That does defend d5. So I'll play a3. At this point, I'm just trying to win as efficiently as possible. Remove the knight from defending the pawn, also trapping the knight. And queen takes d5 should be mate within, I'd say, 4 or 5 moves. So my opponent, I think, abandoned the game there. Another fun game. Some fun middle game action there. Pretty weird opening with f5. Again, the hope was that black would take, and then knight g5, and then take, and then take, and then the main trap in this line is if h6, I can take, and then bishop g6 wins a queen. Now, I think I showed this in, I think it was episode 1, and it actually turns out there's mate in this position, which a few people in the comments alerted me to, that even better than bishop g6 is queen h5. And yeah, it's forced mate after this, and then sack the bishop, and then take, and then queen g3 mate. There's some other lines like king d4, this, and checkmate. Basically, the king is not escaping in this position. Of course, we didn't go into any of that. Let's see what the engine thinks about this position. It does like white. Played the best move, knight takes f8. And yeah, maybe I didn't play super accurately. Engine prefers bishop g5. We got, yeah, we got a very interesting position here. Black was maybe objectively better, but yeah, opponent didn't play super precisely. This was a big blunder, and yeah, queen h5 was all smooth sailing from here. So, up to 840. Let's keep it going. Moving on, playing Knicker Knight. And let's play... I want to keep mixing up the openings. But okay, white's kind of mixing it up with the Vienna. What to play against the Vienna? Play knight f6 is one of the main responses. We're getting the beginning of... Yeah, let's go for a 4 knights. If bishop c4, I'll have the center fork trick. This is actually a Halloween gambit. That's funny that my opponent is the one who's gambiting. Halloween gambit is an opening I sometimes like to play. But I'm the one who gambits, so I'm going to play bishop c5 and try and transpose into a Stafford gambit. I have a small history of doing this against the Halloween. And we do have a Stafford gambit accepted, a transposition. So rather than accepting white's knight, I gave a pawn. I'm now down a pawn. And now we have a position which I've had many, many times before. E5, I think, is already a big mistake because of knight g4. And I feel like I had this position recently. There's some weird lines after knight e4. I'll have to remember. But we don't go into that. I'll just take the pawn. Yeah, white still has these issues with f2. Bishop e3, okay. So I don't really want to allow the queen trade. Like if I take, it allows takes. So I'll take with a knight. And then probably go for queen h4. Yeah, this looks nice. And then if pawn g3, I can take with check first. White will have two sets of double isolated pawns, and this is actually a triple attack, hitting the rook and both undefended pawns. And actually, am I winning the rook? Because rook g1, I'll take on e3 with another triple attack. If queen e2, I could even take on c3 and hit the king and the other rook. Yeah, when it rains, it pours tactics. I mean, taking the rook, of course, is winning. But is this even more winning? Takes king d1. I sack the bishop. It's so tempting. Actually, I could play this first. Sometimes positions like this, when you have a very obvious move or moves, you still want to slow down and consider your options. And I think this is actually the most crushing, bishop g4. It's not a check or capture, but it's now threatening mate in 2. Of course, it's also threatening the queen. I guess I do kind of allow this move. Which honestly, yeah, maybe this was not the right line to go for. Forgot that white can save the queen and defend the pawn. And if h6, queen f4. Oops. Can I still go for the mating attack, though? I can't legally castle queenside. A rook d8. Rook d8, rook g1. I'm actually regretting not having taken the rook after my whole spiel of looking for the best, most crushing move. A rook d8. Oh, I could actually take this pawn. Maybe this is a nice looking option. Take and then take. Yeah, let's go for this. I've probably complicated this game more than it's needed to be complicated, but as long as I don't let my guard down. Threatening c3. So if takes, takes, king f2, takes. There is a potential discovery, but the bishop can't move to check me, which is very important. Ooh. Rook d8. Is it force mate? It's really close. King e2. I don't think it's forced, though. But I think it makes sense to start with. And then I'll take the rook. And now I'm threatening queen d1. With the skewer from behind. Actually, queen d1, I think is still forced mate. king f2, and then... Oh, maybe it's not force mate. Because there's king g1. Okay, I'm still going to play rook d2. And then I probably should save this rook. Unless I want to be super fancy and play this move. Do I sack my rook and then king d7? And then there's e6, which is... But e6 king here... Oh, wait a minute. There's bishop h3 after king d7. Yeah, let me just be careful. Let's play rook f8. No need to go down some murky waters. The bishop remains pinned. I'll probably look to get the queen either to e3 or f2. Okay, white does kind of defend with the queen. So I'll play queen e1. My king is very safe here. I'm threatening the pawn. Now white can defend with queen f4 or queen f3. Queen will also have to stay guarding f2. And then probably what my plan is, let's say queen f4, I can then activate the rook and then look to use the rook to try and deflect the queen away from defending f2 or e3. And white's going to be very stuck. Because for the time being, these pieces have no legal moves. And now the pawn on h2 is tied down to defending g3. So white might have to just wait with a queen or by pushing a pawn. Okay, that's a decent try, I guess. I'm not too afraid of the queen checks though. Like queen h5, I'll run away. No more good checks. The queen might return to f4. Goes to h3, so this is mate. Okay. Fun game. Nice to get a transposition into the Stafford from an attempted Halloween gambit. And yeah, as we see, e5 is not a great move for white. Walks into a lot of trouble against f2. Now there is one line to know here, is after knight e4, which is probably the best attempt to defend and counterattack, then there's a line. I'm using the help of the engine. Knight takes f2, knight takes f2, bishop takes f2, king takes f2, and black needs to be very accurate here with queen d4 check, and then king g3. And in this position, there's only one move for black to keep a winning position. And I may have shown this, I don't know if it was a previous speedrun episode or a different video, but the only move for black to be winning is g5, which is not an easy move to calculate ahead of time, but it's a whole reason why this line works for black. So useful to know, especially if you play the Stafford Gambit a lot, like me. Going back to what happened in this game, yeah, maybe I should have just taken the rook right away. Queen h1 would have been the best move. Got a little bit fancy, but it still worked out. And eventually got the checkmate. So I got to 851. I think I'll wrap it up there. Thanks everyone for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed all the chess and the gambits today. If you have questions, leave them below, and I'll see you guys soon for the next episode. Stay tuned.